Gavin, your thoughts on tonight's game against Wealdstone?
Yeah, obviously difficult. Very disappointed to lose 2-0. I think it was a real poor start from us. You know, we struggled to get out of traps, and I think we were poor out of the traps, or slow out of the traps, should I say, and they were sort of particularly slick. I thought they were really carefree, just, you know, very brave in possession, should we say. And yeah, we just I think they were fitter, faster, stronger than us, I would say. I think we said at 37 minutes was the time we really grabbed the game by the scruff of the neck. So up until that point, we looked like, yeah, we're chasing shadows somewhat. Felt like things were right tactically, so we wouldn't have changed anything. Just, you know, like I said, we couldn't get near them. They were really brave. I think they just came and saw the pitch, and you know, they've got nothing to lose really. I don't think they've won in 4 or 5. So yeah, credit to them. They came and really hit the ground running, and we were just absolutely on the back foot, which is not like us. Really not like us. And like I say, it's to really sort of lay a glove on the game after 37 minutes is not good enough from us. But you know, we had some real moments before half time, but went 1-0 down, which was really disappointing. But you know, second half to come out and then be 2-0 down after 30 seconds, you know, it's again just focus and concentration, something that the players need to know that's a sort of a minimum requirement for us. So yeah, it made it difficult, but you know, I suppose it's easy to, but we grew into the game. You know, we've had sort of 7 or 8 really big moments there in the second half. You know, whether it be a final pass or a cross, or you know, we've had a couple of chances there, hit the post at the end, and keepers made a save. You know, we could have made it really interesting. You know, we were a lot slicker. Just how we said the game was going to go is how it did go in the second half. So we were much more in it. Again, just final pass, final detail. Quality wasn't there, and again, that's unlike us, so we need to be better.
Yeah, and as you say, a couple of big chances at the end, and on the balance of play, probably didn't deserve a point, but could still have happened.
Well, you say that. I think, you know, first half certainly, I would say. Second half showing, you know, we were sort of the more on the front foot. We were slicker. We got into our patterns a lot more. We were a lot braver. It's easy to be brave when you're 2-0 down, of course. So you know, I'm not going to give us too much credit, but you know, we were a lot braver. We turned the ball over a lot quicker. We were a lot more on the front foot from our restarts. Everything that we said we wanted to do from the offset, we started to do in the second half after those first 30 seconds, should I say. So yeah, we're disappointed because, you know, it shouldn't take us that long to really land a glove on the game and to start implementing our game strategy. So I say, can't take anything away from them. You know, they were really slick, fit, fast, strong in the first half, but second half it's how we imagined it was going to happen. You know, we were like red arrows running forward, but just every time there was you know, the detail of a cross needed, or a square pass, or a shot on goal, you know, we just yeah, we fluffed our lines. So we really didn't we weren't clinical at all, you know, in that area. So yeah, in the final phase was really off. You know, defensive phase, I thought the defenders did well second half, and the midfielders got on the ball and were really brave. But when we got into our final third, we certainly weren't clinical.
And you're not one to look back, and the next game comes very quickly with the trip to FC Halifax on Saturday.
Yeah, well, listen, there's not been too many times in my tenure that we've had 2 back-to-back defeats. You know, I think that's what we're really disappointed with. But excuse me, we've really got to drive the energy now. You know, that's excuse me, that's what's really important. We've got to drive the energy through the group. They've got to do it as well. I think, you know, there's maybe a little bit of sulking going on from you know, a little bit of a talking to on Saturday, which is disappointing. You know, they need to know that we need to be resilient. We need to bounce back, and they need to bring the energy. You know, the 2 games have been, yeah, we've not been at our best, but we've still been in the games. You know, it's not like we can say, oh, we shouldn't be at this level, or we've had a fluky start. It's we've certainly been in the games. You know, it hasn't been anything like that. It's just, you know, we need to bring the energy, and we need to bring that positivity that we've had in previous games, and understand it's not the end of the world. You know, it's a long season. I wasn't getting too excited when we were doing really well only 2 games ago. Certainly not getting too down now. But the players need to now be accountable, and we need to start being a lot more clinical. We need to be approaching the games a lot better, like we have been. You know, like we did against Sutton, like we did against Truro, like we did against Rochdale, like we did against the others. You know, we've had a positive start to the season, and yeah, we really need to kick on again now. So it's up to the players. You know, we'll prepare like we normally do. It's going to be a really tough game. I think Halifax have won their last 4 or 5, so it's a tough game going up there. But look, that's what we're at this level for. You know, what would we rather do? Not got promoted. So we're here. We'll be right, and it'll come good again, without a doubt. I know these players now are frothing at the mouth to get to Saturday.
Appreciate your honest assessment as always, and good luck on Saturday.
Thanks, Tim.